It's time now for County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Brad Miller as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives here in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's County-Wide.
Welcome to County-Wide. I'm Paul David. Great to have you in studio today. A couple of guests with us. Steve Estes is here with the Verde Valley Land Preservation, and Mickey Young, the owner of My Dobro, is in studio as well. We're going to be talking about One for the Verde. You've heard the commercials. Steve, you've done several shows. I know you did one with, I think, Doug Bartosh.
Indeed.
Cottonwood City Manager, and you've done a few others. How have you been?
I've been great.
Yeah.
I've been very good. We're very, very busy with a variety of Verde Valley land preservation projects, but we're mostly going to talk about One for the Verde today.
Right. And then Mickey, welcome to studio. It's your first time here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice to see you. Let's get right into it. First, let's just start off with the beginning. I saw the show you did with Doug Bartosh, but I didn't turn up the volume because I knew you were going to come in and sit down and talk with me about it, so I didn't want to know too much about it at the beginning. But tell me what One for the Verde is. Well,
One for the Verde is a project that that Verde Valley Land Preservation has picked up, and we've been given funding by the Walton Family Foundation in a grant, one of the many projects that we have going with them, to get a 1% initiative going in the Verde Valley, much like one that we studied up in Crested Butte, Colorado.
What's going on there?
Well, it's called One. They have a project there. It's been out for 14 years.
Okay.
It's called 1% for Open Space.
Okay.
And if you've ever been to Crested Butte, it's a small little town. Surrounded by, 14ers, mountains, and they're all about open space, and their entire industry depends upon there being lots of open space for recreationists to come, bikers, bicyclists, fishermen, fisher persons, hunters.
Outdoor stuff, pretty
outdoor
much like
stuff,
here.
Totally,
Okay.
yeah, very, very similar to here. And so our idea was then to do a similar project. So what happens there is they sign up businesses. Businesses say that they're willing to participate in this project, where they will add a 1% to whatever charge it is. So for a $100 room at a motel, at a hotel, it's $1. That's added on to the ticket, the bill. And so you can do the math for a $4 latte or a $10 plate of food, and that gets added on automatically. Well, what supports that is lots of advertising, always in the public's eye, always happening. And so you would have to pretty much be in the dark not to know there's a program in town that does this, that many businesses do this. And then if you don't like the idea, you just ask them to take it off. So and our studies show that hardly ever happens. Even for great big tickets, $5,000, $10,000 tickets for, say, an air conditioning unit, that you put into your condo or condo operation, with a little explanation as to where it goes down just fine. Very rarely do people ask to have it taken off. So we're doing a similar thing. We call it One for the Verde, but it's really for the Verde, not just the river, it's for the entire Verde watershed, which includes all the open space that feeds that watershed, all the tributaries to the Verde River. So we're talking, everything from Sedona on down to past, Camp Verde, and everything in between, and not just down that corridor, down those river corridors. It spreads out. So there could be open space projects that would be funded with the money that comes from this. So the idea is this 1% builds into a fund, an oversight board stewards the funds, and also takes proposals from organizations that wish to do something good for the Verde. It could be any numbers of things. It could be ecological stuff, it could be ecotourism things, or anything in between.
Now, Verde Valley Land Preservation is a nonprofit group.
Exactly.
How did you come about to be able to implement a 1% tax?
Well, it's not a tax.
Okay.
First of all, no, it's not a tax. A tax comes from an authority. Yeah, that's what you see. But what we see is it's a voluntary donation on the part of the customer on an opt-out basis. So I get my ticket. It's got $1 on it, and I say, because I spent $100, and I say, what's this for? And the waiter or the person at the desk gives a brief explanation, or hands a card and says, because we have those materials, says it goes for the good of, the reason why everybody comes here anyway. We keep, we're preserving land, we're preserving, our resources, our water resources, and then that person then can voluntarily say, well, I don't really want to participate. Hardly ever happens. So it's not a tax by any means. A tax comes from an authority, like the government. It says you must pay this. We are saying you may pay this, and if you don't want to, you can just take it off.
I see that happen when I go, say, the grocery store. When I go to pay, it'll say, do you want to donate to muscular dystrophy or something? And you put the yes or no option.
And you have the opt-in or out.
Right, opt-in or out, and as much as you want.
This is an opt-out.
Okay.
And it's supported, as I said, by a great deal of advertisement, a great deal of community. What I'm doing here today is making sure the community knows this is happening. Now, up in Crested Butte, they've got over 80 businesses, but they've been at it for 14 years. We've been at it for less than a year, and we have signed up 30 already. And so we've got a really good jump start. And the reason for that is because of the funding that we were given to really jumpstart this thing.
Now, is this something that you have to go and talk to the city or the town council or the county, the state, anything like that?
No.
So really any nonprofit could do this?
Yes. It's a relationship between the nonprofit organization and the business community. And it's a partnership.
I'd never heard of this before.
Steve approached me a few months back on this. And again, as I told you, I've known Steve since I've opened up the restaurant. And I just looked at it and I said, Steve, I'm in. I said, whatever you need, whenever you need it, and we'll be here to support it. And we have plans for a future benefit for One for the Verde, where people can get an idea, more information from us, and get to know what we're doing to assist One for the Verde Valley.
What made you decide to do it?
Steve.
Steve?
He's been a gentleman since I've known him, and he's a good man, and this is something that's very good for the Valley. And I think once we get our board of directors together and get out to more businesses to join in, it's a worthy cause, and we support Steve 100%. So
there's no board yet? Board of directors.
We're building that. Okay. It's not actually a board of directors. It's going to be more of just a board of, oversight board. Okay. So it won't be at least not at this time, a freestanding 501c3 organization with a board of directors and being a corporation or anything like that. Down the line, it will become freestanding. Right now, we're building it, we're growing it, we're nurturing it. VVLP is doing that. These funds do not go strictly to VVLP. Matter of fact, they don't even go to us at all. This board will oversee the money, and they will take proposals from a variety of organizations. VVLP may someday propose a project. But it's not money just for this organization. It's money for the entire Verde watershed, for a variety of groups to be able to access those funds to advance their missions of, clean air, clean water, open spaces, those kinds of things.
All right, let's take our first break, okay?
Great.
Steve Estes is in studio today with the Verde Valley Land Preservation. Mickey Young is also in studio, the owner of My Dobro. We're talking about One for the Verde. I'm Paul David. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
I'm one unlucky guy. The chance of being involved in a robbery is 1 in 757. The chances of being struck by lightning, 1 in 750,000.
Please fasten your seatbelts for unexpected turbulence.
The chances of being a victim in an airline crash, 1 in 29 million. Hey, could I get some peanuts? The chances of being involved in a car crash are far greater than lightning strikes and plane crashes. And if you are texting while driving, your risk of crash increases 23 times. Now, I may be an unlucky guy, but I don't have to be part of that statistic, and neither do you. Drive responsibly.
There's no place like home.
Getting home safely is just a click away. But making sure your child is in the right seat is just one of the steps down the road to safer travels.
I don't know how it works.
Find the right seat for your little one's age and size.
We've done what you told us.
There's no better way to get home safely. Know for sure that your child is in the right seat. Get all the facts at safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Countywide. Great to have you in studio today. We're talking about One for the Verde. Real quick, okay, we're putting together a group that's going to kind of oversee this money. Who oversees the group? Or I'm trying to figure out where the money goes and kind of where it's
going to go in a bank account. The bank account's been established by Verde Valley Land Preservation. Verde Valley Land Preservation is going to make sure that
you're the umbrella.
Yes, and we're the owners of the idea. We're the ones that are making this happen. So we will be the ultimately responsible party until we hand it off to this board. And that board, once it begins, once it's had a couple of opportunities to do what it's supposed to do, then we'll talk about handing that off to that board, and then they will probably decide to become a nonprofit 501c3 or something along that order.
Okay. Money-wise now, where's One for the Verde at? I mean, how much have you raised? Because you've been doing this for how long now?
Well, we've only been, in the collecting phase for just maybe even 2 months. And so we have yet to really find an effective way to get these monies to come in on a regular basis. We receive them, and so that's really the next step in this process, is to now not formulate, but to actually, for lack of a better term, enforce. We don't want to be enforcing, these are partners, but to come into a structure of where things come in on a regular basis, an expectation. And the one that I've been working with has been on a quarterly basis. And if I would want to see monies transferred on a quarterly basis from the businesses. If you want to exceed that, that's fine, but we will follow that up and make sure that that quarter's monies have come in at some time or another. If you want to come in every month, that's fine, as long as we have a quarter's worth of deposits that come in each time. Now, that said, we are still in the implementation phase. So we've signed businesses up. They've come up with their methods of collection. Not all have started collecting yet, because this takes a great deal of coming back and working with them on their accounting systems and their point-of-sale systems and how that's going to get transferred over. And we're trying to be of assistance to the businesses in any bookkeeping issues they may have with going from point of sale all the way through the process to some kind of sequestered account that would then get sent over to the One for the Verde program.
You guys
so
still
we've got a few $100 sitting around. Yeah, well, we're not ironing it out. We're just building it as we go.
Okay.
So we've done the due diligence. We've done the research. We've done the initial businesses that said yes, kind of the initial circle of which my dobro is. We've added to more of those businesses, but we're in process now of revisiting those businesses and making sure that there is a reliable means of collection, because it's not all 1%. Sometimes they can say, the 1% doesn't work for our business, but what would work would be, a dirty Verde martini. And 80% of that, every time we sell one of those, goes into this fund, something like that. So we're willing to work with that. Up in Crested Butte, there was a pizza place that had a 1%er pizza. And the total amount, outside of overhead, went to, for every time that pizza got sold, the total amount of that pizza cost went into the fund. So there's a variety of ways of doing it. The 1% is the most reliable, brings a nice steady stream. It's painless, to the customer, and certainly painless for the businesses, because it's not coming out of the businesses' pockets.
Mickey, are you up and running yet with it? And was it tough?
Steve and I made a verbal agreement concerning giving 1% of my net sales to the One for the Verde. We'll do it on a quarterly basis, so it's been about 2 months, maybe going on 3 months now that we've made that agreement.
Okay.
And then what I'll do is we'll go over my numbers by the quarter, and then I'll make a check out to One for the Verde.
Now, how do you let your customers know when they come in that there's this 1% there on the bill?
Well, along with a sticker you get from the Verde Valley to post on your window, people can see that as they come in. But being a strong supporter of it with Steve, there'll be pamphlets in my restaurant, just bringing awareness to it, bringing awareness to other businesses in town or former businesses or business people in town. And again, we're discussing now having a fundraiser in the near future to raise more awareness in the community and get some big support for this.
How's the response been from your clientele that come in?
It's been, you know, not many of them know about it yet because Steve's still working on the logistics and everything about that, and how we're going to present ourselves and present the project and get people involved and interested in it.
Okay, so not a whole lot of feedback just yet?
Not just yet.
Okay, all right.
Feedback we're receiving from other businesses that have actually, they're further along, they are further along than some businesses are in terms of, you know, adding the charges, is that there's no feedback at all. There's no pushback at all, actually. Nobody's really asking. They're saying, oh, okay, it's fine.
So it's going to be kind of a grant program that Verde Valley Land Preservation will be doing.
Right, ultimately, and then ultimately this board will be the grant program. You know, they will be a freestanding organization.
What will be some of the requirements when it comes time to apply? Because you'll have to apply to Verde Valley Land Preservation to access these funds.
Well, let's just say Joe Schmo's nonprofit comes in and says, you know, we want to, you know, we're asking for, you know, $15,000 so that we can build a B&B on the Verde River. And I don't think that's going to fly.
Right.
That one's going to fly. When an organization comes in and says, you know, we have a plan, they bring their plan for improving the access to recreational use of the rivers, of the, you know, the river system, where the it's easier to know where these are. It's easy access for whatever kind of appropriate recreation activity, whether it be a kayak or fishing or hiking or whatever. Could be trails. Could be any numbers of things that says, and we'd like, you know, we're looking for, you know, $8,000 to put in signage, to have an education program about environmental ethics, recreational ethics in our environment, information and signage with respect to the importance of the ecological state of this river, such as the kinds of birds or the kinds of wildlife that's there, so as to be enhancing. That may very well be a kind of a program that would be funded through this. Another one might be that an organization comes through and says, you know, there's a a good example would be a project we just finished, VVLP just finished last year. The Verde Village Property Owners Association, they own a 35-acre riparian zone. And if you walk through there, it's gorgeous. It's really it's beautiful. Wildlife and just, and the flowing waters and just the natural environment, the sounds and the smells. It is beautiful. 35 acres. When I visited at first, we had computers and washing machines and mattresses and
target practice area.
Oh, target and beat up by four-wheelers and everything else. And so what we did, we partnered with a variety of other organizations. Friends of the Verde River Greenway was one of them, and the U.S. Fish and Game, or Fish and Wildlife Service, and the state Game and Fish. We all came together with a variety of funds, and we cleaned the place up, got all the stuff out. We removed all the invasive species, and there were quite a few in there, and treated them, and have a plan to go back and monitor and manage that. And then we also blocked off all motorized access with boulders and fencing, and turned it in from a junkyard in a beautiful riparian area to a nature preserve, and with expectations. And it's open to the public. They can come. The property owners, it's private land, but they've opened it to people to walk, to picnic or whatever. It's a take it in, take it out environment. It's a no overnight camping, no campfires. It's enjoy the beauty of the Verde River. That's the kind of project that we would say, yes, yeah, we would fund that.
Okay, all right, let's take another break.
Okay.
Verde Valley Land Preservation's Outreach Coordinator Steve Estes in studio today. Mickey Young, also the owner of My Dobro. Stick around, Countywide, back in just a couple minutes.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it, I see it! Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Countywide. We have a couple minutes left in the program. Steve, real quick, when can we expect maybe to see some of the funding go out to an organization to have them work on a project?
Well, we've got one or two more members to add to this board. We have a number of people who said yes. We want to have a mix of business owners and other, river or open space interested people. It's kind of a nice mix on that board, and it'll be a small board at first. But we expect to see. We have enough funds now to project a small project to be approved probably in, I would say, 6 weeks or so. 4 to 6 weeks, I think we expect to see that.
By summertime, if it
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, that'll give us some more time to actually gather some more money and make a dent. Whatever project that is will actually be notable.
Now, how do I find out more information about this other than watching Countywide or hearing the commercial that's on there?
www.onefortheverde.org.
Onefortheverde.org.
Yep.
Onefortheverde.org. Okay. All right. Phone number? Or just better for onefortheverde.org?
It's better that way. They can get everything they need from
onefortheverde.org.
Right, all one word.
Good to see you, Steve.
Thank you, Paul.
Mickey, it was great meeting you today.
My pleasure.
Welcome to the Verde Valley.
Thank you so much.
That's today's Countywide. I'm Paul David. We will talk to you again next time.